All right, so if you're a founder thinking about raising capital, you probably have this neat little checklist in your head, right? Prepare the deck, launch the campaign, promote it, and then, fingers crossed, close the round. But what if I told you that entire way of thinking is, well, kind of wrong? I mean, really think about it. Is it just a straight shot? A simple, linear path from point A to point B? You just do the work, and then the money shows up at the end. Yeah, you've probably guessed it. You gotta think again. It's not a line at all. It's a flywheel. It's a powerful, self-sustaining engine. So what in the world is a fundraising flywheel? Okay, picture this. It's a cycle where every single success, every new investor, every little piece of good press doesn't just stop there. Nope. It actively fuels the next thing and the next, creating these compounding results. The more energy you put in, the faster and faster it spins, until pretty soon it starts to build its own momentum. So what happens when this flywheel really starts spinning? Well, the very first thing you'll notice is pretty amazing, and it's all about unlocking some seriously powerful visibility. You see, once you have some initial traction, a few wins you can point to, you can leverage that success. And suddenly, you're getting press coverage. Now, this isn't just advertising, this is huge. It's external validation from people who were basically telling the world, hey, you should watch this company. And that press coverage, it almost always leads to more opportunities. Now you're getting invited onto industry podcasts to tell your story. And every single interview is a new stage, a new platform to reach potential investors and customers in a way that feels way more personal. And this is where you can really see that flywheel effect kick in. All that visibility, it doesn't just attract investors. It starts opening doors you didn't even know were there, to strategic partners, to key advisors, even to new customers who just want to be a part of what you're building. The flywheel starts pulling in way more than just cash. It all just boils down to one simple truth. Really, momentum is magnetic. Success just plain attracts more success. Once you get that wheel spinning, opportunities start coming to you. But that external visibility, it doesn't just appear out of thin air. It has to be powered by something real, something tangible. So let's move on to part 2 and see what's really driving this thing. Building irresistible social proof. This right here, this is the engine room of the whole operation, and it runs on credibility. To build it, you gotta do 2 things, and you gotta do them consistently. First, showcase your early traction, be super transparent about it. And second, you have to celebrate every single milestone you hit. There was this spirits company, for example. When they just highlighted their very first wave of investor commitments, that single announcement created this incredible ripple effect. That tiny bit of initial social proof was all everyone else needed to feel confident enough to jump into. And that celebration, it can look something just like this. Announcing, hey everyone, we just crossed 100 investors. That makes the journey feel so real and exciting. It's not just a number on a page. It's a community of people who are all betting on the same vision. And what this really does, it's a powerful psychological tool. I mean, think about it. For an investor who's on the fence, seeing that 100 other people have already committed, well, it seriously reduces their feeling of risk. It gives them that little nudge, that confidence they need to finally take the leap. Okay, so we've got visibility and it's being fueled by social proof. That's awesome. But it brings up the biggest question of all, especially for a flywheel that's just sitting there at a dead stop. Let's dive into part 3, the crucial first push. Right? A flywheel doesn't just start spinning all by itself. So how in the world does this all begin? Where does that initial, incredibly difficult burst of energy even come from? It comes from right here, your inner circle. That very first tough push comes from your friends, your family, your earliest, most loyal customers, and those business champions who believed in you from day one. These are the people who are investing in you just as much as they're investing in the idea. And look, their commitment, it's not just about the money. It is the single most powerful signal you can possibly send to the rest of the world that your vision is worth backing. This is that first crucial push that gets the whole flywheel to start spinning. So you've gotten that first push, you're building social proof, and you're starting to get some visibility. Now for the final and maybe most important part. How do you keep the dang thing going? This slide really just nails the whole mindset shift we're talking about. The old way is this finite linear path. You prepare, you promote, you close, and you're done. But the flywheel, it's a continuous loop.
Awareness brings in capital, which drives traction, which earns you visibility, and that feeds right back into creating more awareness. It's a cycle that ideally never stops.
So how do you keep it turning? Well, it's all about consistent, repeatable actions. Every investor update you send is another little push on the wheel. Every milestone you celebrate openly builds more of that social proof. Every podcast interview can be chopped up and repurposed into a dozen social media clips. And this is the big one. When you engage your community, they become like an army of amplifiers, all pushing that flywheel right alongside you. So if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. Momentum isn't magic. It doesn't just happen. It's something you build intentionally, step by step, and push by push. Which leaves us with one last, very practical question for you to think about. Looking at everything we've covered, what's the very first conversation you need to have with someone in your inner circle to give your own flywheel its very first push?